Hey guys, it's Gabe. I haven't uploaded in a while, and I genuinely thought that it was kind of time to just start making the videos when the ideas come up and just have enough courage to talk about them. Most of the time, I really want to talk about more serious topics here, but it absolutely 100% gets me so nervous because it's a platform where you basically are putting yourself out there. You have no idea who's watching the content, and it just is more on you than it is on the viewer to be talking about things. And I guess it's just time to stop really worrying and being apprehensive before making a video on a topic and just come from a place of sharing. I notice that when I'm going through a really, really hard time, the most difficult times of my life, I don't like to talk very vulnerably or straightforward or about things that matter or that are not going to be entertaining or what, but it's my purpose. It really, truly is. And I slowly have to work my way back up to doing that. So, without further ado, let's talk about a couple things. The topic of gender is huge in my life, and I don't share that. I don't, for the last several years, feel like I have to explain my sexuality or gender identity to anybody until I'm certain about what it is for myself and what that means to me. And a year ago, I had made a video talking about gender, but when I rewatched it, it kind of didn't really feel like what I was trying to say is what I was actually saying. And the stigma around transitioning and everything else that goes along with it, I want to clarify that there is a difference between gender identity, your sexual orientation, and your gender expression. Did you follow? So there's those three things: your gender identity, your sexual orientation, and your gender expression. Three different things, right? Gender identity, I feel, is more of the spiritual and the way that you tap into your soul as a masculine, feminine, somewhere in the middle, somewhere on the scale, whatever that is. For me, I have always known where I have fallen on that spectrum. That would be my gender identity. My sexual orientation would be, depending on who's observing and whatever their language is different. If I, knowing that my gender identity was maybe not the same as my gender expression right now, currently expressing as society's view gay male, that would be my gender expression, separate from my gender identity. If people are born transgendered, this is an example, is that your gender identity could be one thing, but you have not taken those steps toward that transition. It's going to be different. Your gender identity at that time, in place and time, is going to be different than your gender expression, the way that you express your gender. So you could do that androgynously, or you can do that, in our community, people call it like being very passable. If you identify as transgender, you want to look a certain gender where people are not ambiguous about like where you fall. That's being passable. You have everything in between and on the scale. And as we are growing as a society, all these things are changing and people are really just doing whatever the fuck they want. And at the end of the day, just because we have these three different things, our sexual orientation, our gender expression, and our gender identity, it doesn't mean that those are always going to stay the same. One thing for me that I know, I think I've always kind of known what my gender identity is. That doesn't change from time to time. My gender expression changes to a degree all the time, and it has been throughout my lifetime. I will be very honest with you. In 2014, I thought that how I felt needed to be expressed. I, as a soul, believe that I am strongly balanced completely equally with feminine and masculine energy, and that is a gift. I think everybody possesses those two qualities very strongly. My gender identity would be more on the feminine aspect. That's just who I feel. When I check into my soul and my emotions, that is what I feel. That would be a gender identity. Now, your gender expression would be different. If I were to get on HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, I could essentially take steps to make my gender expression a certain way, right? So, years ago, I started that process. I got into it and I realized that at a certain point, I didn't want to keep going because it didn't feel natural. I don't feel like I was all the way on this end of the spectrum as hyper feminine, as society would have seen it. For me, I have always felt like I have related as female soul gender identity to lesbians. And I felt that way because I have a very strong masculine way of expressing things, but I'm not also completely hyper feminine. And so when I started my transition, because I very comfortably and naturally felt these things when I was going to the extreme over here with hormone replacement therapy, it did not feel right within my soul. It's like my gender identity and my gender expression no longer matched. When I was in this in-between stage where I was just super androgynous and my hair was longer and whatever, to me that felt more comfortable because it really truly was an expression of what I was. And it doesn't matter if it's if we have a box for it here, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? This has already been 8 minutes. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna just keep diving into this. It's gonna be a longer video. I don't know why this is coming up, but it just I'm just so tired of not being transparent and literally I'm not gonna hide behind any identity as a gay man or this or that. And I bring this up because of the fact that, my gender expression right now is, in society's eyes, gay male, right? So, in the dating world, obviously, I like dating guys. I would certainly hook up with girls. I think girls are very phenomenally attractive. I am attracted to certain types of girls, but I am dominantly attracted to men. And I'd go as far to say that my sexual orientation, if all three of those things in the beginning that we talked about, it doesn't matter what your opinions are, and if you want to be disrespectful in any way, just save your comments and go to another video and stop hating on my community and on transgender girls that actually go the distance and do the thing and tell the world that they are a straight woman, because that is who they are. That is who they are. Take their word for it. I don't give a fuck if you're oh, that chick has a dick, that's a dude, that's a man. That's fucking disrespectful. you're not in that situation. And don't be so fucking disgusting and demeaning to go up to a transgender person who, if she had a choice, probably would have incarnated that way to begin with. You know what I mean? Don't go up in their fucking business and try and call them a man or any of the sort. It's just straight out disrespectful. And so, granted, I can only speak half on this because I do feel somewhere in the middle. However, when I'm dating men that are gay, gay men, I was going to put this in the title. It's specifically in relation to how gay men and transgender girls relate and everybody else in the middle, because there is everybody else in the middle. It's very complicated, and you're not going to figure it out overnight. And just because you don't understand something, cool. I do think that there are people who are doing things and labeling themselves all these different things, and they're trying to create their own thing because they just genuinely don't know who they are. There is that out there. There are people that are just feel like victims, and so they have to come up with this really unique fucking name and say, this is what you're supposed, you know what I mean? Gender pronouns and all this different stuff. It's look, less of a discussion, please, because it's just if you have to over explain your sexuality, your gender, and all this other shit to people, because they're so curious and they just want to know, dude, stop being so fucking curious about that person's life. You know what I mean? Just it's not your business. Stop asking questions, unless you're in the right context to do so. But most people, for me, I don't really like the question, what are your preferred gender pronouns? If you say to someone oh, I'm transgender. If you see a transgender girl walk up to you and shake your hand and she's super passable and she looks gorgeous and she looks like a woman, why the fuck would you ask her what her gender pronouns are? Do you think she's going to be he, him? No, clearly not. So why ask that? Is that completely necessary? Not at all. So that's one thing that society can stop doing. Stop asking about gender pronouns. And if the people who do feel the need that it is that important that they are addressed in a certain way and you need to voice to other people what they should be calling you, go for it. That's cool. Do your thing. Quite frankly, I don't want to have discussions about gender unless it is in the right context. And if your intentions are seriously on target, then sure, let's talk about it. But other than that, it's just chill the fuck out. I don't think I finished the point though, about gay men relating to trans women. Look, yes, I'm actually very comfortable right now in my life presenting this way. There are days where I have dysphoria, when some of my feminine energy can be much more dominant in that time of my life. If my gender expression is this way, I'm gonna hit a spot of dysphoria, feeling what's on the inside is not matching the outside. But this is comfortable. And I'm gonna tell you guys why, and I will share this in storytime videos in the future. But very quickly, I did not have it well at all when I first started to transition. I had gone through some horrifying experiences and a family basically who completely discriminated and disrespected me and gaslighted me and literally made me feel like a fucking piece of garbage because of their narrow-mindedness. Do you catch my drift? It honestly was the hardest fucking thing for me to go through in my life. And I had experienced a lot of trauma during the beginning stages of my transition. I had several losses, with people physically passing away, going through a state of not being able to survive or keep a job or not being discriminated against. For me, I just was not in the right time and the right place to have done that, and I tried my hardest and it just no longer worked. And partially my masculine energy, in my opinion, in a spiritual sense, had to kind of come in for this time in my life and just be what it is. And that is what it is. So right now my gender expression would be gay male, or, you know, whatever. So I survived as much as I could during that time, and it just wasn't working out, and I was just tired of the bullshit and how society fucking treats people that are going through that type of process. My throat is getting really dry. I did not expect to be talking this long on this topic, but here we are, still going. I literally just wanted to state that all my opinions in this video are coming from the place of like pure empathy, and I know what it feels like for someone who's dealing with gender dysphoria. It's fucking awful, and if you don't deal with it, don't judge someone else who's going through it, thinking that you have any of the nearest idea what it's like to live in the society as a trans or gender ambiguous individual. You have no place to put your opinion on it. And just like how people would claim like white privilege or this or that, literally it is a burden and a disadvantage, but also the most beautiful gift that people experiencing it go through. Catch my drift? I'm not like really using full sentences here. I'm having a hard time staying on one subject. This is literally me just getting it out, and I don't care how it looks, but I'm literally just starting the conversation. The point here is that there's a lot of transphobia in the gay community. I don't know what the fuck happened to most gay men when they were younger, but, you know, me dating, even in the last couple of years, still being in a gender expression this way. And if you ask me, I will very clearly tell you where I am in my gender. Even if I'm presenting this way, I will be very transparent and tell somebody my past, where I was, and how I feel as a soul, and where I might be in the future. I'm not going to hide the fact that I had identified as transgender, or that I am gender non-binary, or I'm two-spirited, or I'm literally a fucking alien. It doesn't matter. Like I'm not going to hide behind the label of being a gay dude or a bisexual dude or asexual or this and that. Literally, I don't have a fucking label. But this is my point, is that there are a lot of gay men that are extremely transphobic, and even me going out and dating or hookups or like whatever the fuck it is, there have been so many times where I've been sitting there and they say something like so transphobic. It's just it's like mind-boggling, and it makes it really unattractive. So my last point here, your sexual orientation is a completely different thing. For me, I'm not attracted, genuinely, I'm telling you this, to like full-blown gay men who literally only like men, muscle, masculine. That's not my sexual preference. So my sexual identity or sexual orientation would be bisexual or heterosexual, meaning that my gender identity is female. Okay? So regardless of how you see the way that I am presenting to you my gender expression, my sexual orientation would be heterosexual, because on a soul level, female. Catch my drift? I'm not attracted to gay men because gay men have no respect for the feminine most of the time, and they say a lot of hurtful shit, and they just are disgusted by, like, there's a trend in culture and in the gay community where femininity and not being masculine is looked at like something disgusting. You know what I mean? And I'm not about it. and I'm just going to talk about my feelings and put it out there because I just don't care and I have nothing to lose. And I'm not going to sit here and just like say the right thing just to like get everybody to like me. I'm just like, I'm not that person. I never have been that person. That's why I really don't have a large social circle, and I do my fucking own thing. And I do my own thing because I know where it comes from, and it comes from a place of love and the most genuine, authentic place. And I don't need to question myself. You catch my drift? Whew, Jesus fucking Christ. Longest video I would ever upload on my channel. I feel like I have so much more to say, but that's just going to be a part one. 20 minutes long. If you guys hung in there with me for this whole entire video, then thank you. You are a true subscriber. Awesome. I don't know if I'm really gonna like scroll through the comments too much on this video because it just is what it is. And I'm not just like leaving this open and inviting any sort of thing. You get what I mean? It's like when I start seeing that the percentage of comments and responses on my channel are positive and supporting, I have time for people whose hearts are open and who are genuinely here for a decent purpose and not for self-centered, scummy, narcissistic, bullshitting, confused ass individuals who are up here spreading hate. Like, go spread your hate somewhere else. So I'm going to conclude this video with that. Thank you. I think I need a lozenge now. It's been beautiful talking to you guys about this really, really controversial subject that, you know, everyone has a different opinion on, but that's mine. And it's been fun. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and subscribe to my channel, like my video, share that shit, and please, like, let's start making some fucking progress here on my channel and make a bitch some money. You know what I mean? Let's build this channel together. Tell me what else you guys want me to talk about, and I think that's it for the outro. I am so tired. I think I need a nap. It's been wonderful. Talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.